Well, this brings me to the next element of this new paradigm of schools for the 21st century, the idea of core. A good school has something like a common meeting point. This is possible for schools up to 300 pupils or 300 students. It's quite easy to arrange something like this core space, but you have seen the example of the Orestad Gymnasium, that's the Danish word. This is a school, I think, for 1,200 students, and it also has two large cores stacked one over the other. So it's also possible for larger schools. The intention is to create an idea of a common space. Also in the metaphorical sense, it is not only about individual learning, it is about the idea of a whole school and of teams forming with the intention to help each other, from the smaller teams of 2 people, 8 people, to the whole idea of the school as an institution of cooperation. This is no new idea. The oldest and one of the most interesting examples I found for this idea of a core is this school from Glasgow in Scotland from 1886, a girls' school with classrooms and a large common core in the center. This school looks like this, so a very historic building. It's still existing. It was used as a discotheque, unfortunately, and was severely damaged in the fire recently. But you still can visit the place in Glasgow. This is another example from Austria, a school idea from the early 1950s called the living room school. And the idea is to arrange a very small school in the way you would arrange your own home, with a fireplace in the center. This is this element. Then there are learning spaces, classrooms around, and you see these small niches. So these spaces in between, they are dedicated to special project work. And I think it's interesting to see that these ideas have been around for more than 60 years. So it's nothing entirely new. Much we are talking about today has been even tested in the 1960s and 1970s with different outcomes. But we're actually, to some extent, repeating ideas that date back 50 or 60 years. I personally am rather critical of this idea to create a school like a private house. I think a school is a different institution and it should have a different model than the private home, but this is another discussion. This is one of the most beautiful and intense core spaces I know by Hermann Herzberger, again, a Dutch architect. A very, very small space in the primary school that really glues together the whole school. It's a very small place. It's used for physical education of the children. It's used for events. The doors to the classrooms are open, and the whole space is really the working, pumping core of the school. If you go to the internet, you will find interviews with the headmaster of the school where she is absolutely enthusiastic about this element and says that this core space is what brings the school to life. Another example by Herzberger, and now maybe I can do something for the Italian school building system. This is a school in Rome built 2 years ago, and one of the most interesting examples actually I know for a good core space. Herzberger usually does this combination of stairs and sitting steps, creating an aula that you can use for various events. You see that in this case he combined the inside sitting stairs with the outside. The next image shows the view from the outside to the inside. It's a very cleverly constructed school for the climate in Rome with a lot of shaded spaces.